Howdy, folks. Howdy, howdy, howdy. We are back. Back for more. Back for more. Well, so what's happening today is we got the last scene of Nora done, and that's done and ready to go. I outputted it. So now we're moving into the story. And so what I have now is I have some text I'm going to work off. I've got my friend Alphonse who created for me. He took the text that I had created for my book, and he did kind of a rhythmic version of it, which I thought was really, really cool. And so I don't have a storyboard for this, but what I'm doing is I'm sort of, to be honest, I'm sort of inventing it as I go. I have images for the book, but I don't have a storyboard. Okay, normally you have a storyboard when you make a film, but sometimes you can make your film based upon um, things that are being said. Sometimes, like if you've got a script or you've got an idea kind of worked out in a certain way, um, in in your story, in your storyline, sometimes that can do it. Sometimes you can make a film based on a piece of music. Sometimes you can make a film based on a piece of dialogue or a piece of narration, which is kind of what I'm doing here because I have a piece of narration or I have a story. But like I said, originally I wrote the original text for it, but I gave it to my buddy Alphonse, who is pretty good at putting together rhymes and music and stuff like that. He's quite good at that. And so he took what I had written and he came back and gave me a more rhythmical version of the whole thing, which I love, by the way. So I'm going to use that as my basis for the story. So where I'm at right now is I'm looking at a scene where I want to show the four characters kind of come together maybe and hug each other. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to start a new scene, and I'll set it at 4 frames. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to have a drawing that shows everybody kind of jump together and sort of I don't know, hug each other maybe. So yeah, maybe have a maybe a drawing, yeah, that shows everybody kind of hugging. I don't know. Um, yeah, maybe Miguel is in the middle here. That could be funny. And if you recall, I was saying, yeah, I've said this before that I like a lot of times to do some type of a drawing that sort of exemplifies what the scene is about. So with this drawing, I'm sort of putting everybody in the scene, and this drawing will be a key drawing in the scene. But then it's how I get into this key drawing. That's going to be the animation problem. How I get to this drawing is the trick. So, and I don't have, to be honest with you, before I started to do this just now, I really didn't quite know what I was going to do, and because I wanted you to kind of see that when you're working on an idea or story, you know, even if you don't have it all figured out yet, there is a creative process, And sometimes that creative process can be very spontaneous, where you maybe you don't really know what you're going to do yet. But depending on how you work on something, if you're doing a lot of the work yourself, like we are in this, um, then a lot of what this is going to be how it's interpreted. But some of it is going to be somewhat instinctive. Like I said, I don't know. I didn't know right now. Like what was I going to draw here? But now, as I'm doing it, just this one drawing that I'm doing now is kind of telling me like, oh, hey, that could be kind of fun. In other words, it's giving me a good feeling. Like, yeah, okay, I think I can see how this might work out. I don't have all the answers to it yet by any stroke, any measure. I don't know. I'm guessing. But the first step here is just to at least make this one drawing and see where that takes me. So, we've got Nora. She's up on top of Lenny and Jason. And she's, and how they even get into this position, I don't know yet. I have no idea how they're going to even get into this position. Um, they may just jump on top of each other. Or, I don't know. So let's see. And what am I going to, like she's there. So, does that mean that her legs are off to the side like this? That could be kind of fun. Yeah, that's kind of funny. And, yeah. Because it makes, you're looking for a fun drawing. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that sort of sparks ideas for me. Okay. So let's see. Okay. So we got Jason here. So he's here. All right. And okay, yeah, so he's in here. I guess I could just have teeth there for him. Let's see. Okay, so his hair is going over that way. Maybe it kind of goes in here. Let's see. All right, let's see. Maybe with Nora's got her hand. So Nora's got her hand over his face there. So maybe she's hanging on. And let's see, this has turned out to be kind of a fun drawing. So let's see, yeah, so let's see, Jason's hanging on back here. All right, and then, yeah, all right, so we got Jason there, and we got, let's see, all right, and then Miguel is kind of stuck in the middle here. That's funny. Oh, yeah, let's see, we could have Miguel, let's see, maybe, let's see, how do we want to do that? Okay, so Lenny is grabbed him this way. Okay, so his arm is going around like that. But okay, and then, okay, so I got to get Miguel in here. So Miguel's got to be kind of like down here. his head is kind of caught in between. So let's see. Um, well, let's see. We could have. Um, let's see. Miguel in here, and so Miguel is smiling, but his face is kind of covered up by. Let's see. Okay. So if Jason, okay, so maybe Miguel is like he's sandwiched in here, right? And um, Jason and Lenny got their arms around him like that, and right, and then Miguel is just he's kind of swamped between the two of them. Yeah. So he's kind of just got his arms out. Yeah. And let's see. So then, yeah, Lenny's there. Okay, so then Lenny is he's jumped into the frame to grab and hug Jason, but in the process, he's caught Miguel in the middle. Okay. Right. And yeah, that's just fun. Okay, so Miguel's down here. All right. And okay. And okay, so Jason and Lenny are there. Right. And okay. So we got there. And okay. And so there's we got Jason's there. Jason's there. He's jumped into frame to get to this. Okay. Yeah. And yeah. Yeah. That's gonna be kind of fun. And then let's see. Nora. Nora's got to kind of have little feet because she's a girl. So maybe, like that. Yeah, that's fun. So yeah, how we get to this position? That's the fun thing. Is like, how are we gonna get to this? I don't know. Let's think about that. Um, certainly could be fun. Um, well, well, let's see. Okay, so let me note that. All right, so yeah. Well, one thing I'm kind of popping into my head right now is I'm thinking like, okay, once they get into this position, then what are we doing with them? So, and I think that maybe, let's see, um, let's see, um, hmm. let's see. I mean, I guess they could go side to side. So maybe, yeah, maybe they're. Well, let's see. Okay, let me add a frame here. Add a frame after, and we'll flip that over so that that frame is. Okay. So maybe we start out with. Let's see. Well, okay. So maybe we show them starting to come into the frame. So maybe like. So let's say let's say we've got. Let's see here. So let's say maybe we've got Miguel. He's looking this way. Or maybe he's coming into frame. Maybe he's, maybe he's, I don't know. Maybe he's running to get into this frame. So maybe we start him a bit back here. And then maybe we have Lenny is already coming into frame. So maybe Lenny is coming into frame. And he's maybe already running to get into the frame. See. And then maybe, yeah, so maybe he's there. And then maybe, well, let's see, also too, we'd have to make sure that Lenny is the right size. So he's going to have to be bigger. He'd be coming in maybe down here. Got to make Miguel bigger too. So he'd be maybe coming in this way. And maybe let's see. Maybe Nora would have to jump to get to where she is. So maybe Nora's back here. She's running too. And then same thing with Jason. Maybe Jason's jumping. Maybe he's jumping to get into this position. So maybe, because in other words, maybe we start them in some kind of movement position to get them into this frame, because there's so much going on in this frame here, to get them together, they're kind of, So I think what we're going to have to do here is we're going to have to keep creating drawings to sort of see how do we get these characters together. It might be, right now I'm just thinking, okay, this is where Lenny's coming from, this is where Jason's coming from, but I don't have the answers yet, okay? But this is good because then you can see what I'm doing while I'm doing it, and you can do the same thing when you're doing something because just because you don't have all the answers yet doesn't mean you can't start working. Now, the more knowledge you have about how to put something together, obviously the less fear you're going to have about making big mistakes as you move forward. But animation is great in the sense that you can always make changes if you need to. And that is kind of the way you should look at it. It's like, okay, I may need to make some changes. All right, that's fine. So like here, he's... See, like I'm seeing, what I'm doing here is I'm seeing poses and setups and things, but I'm also sort of starting to think, how are these characters going to get to where I want them to be? What? So I'm thinking about where they are before they get to that final position. You know, because I don't know, but I got to start them from someplace. And these drawings, if I need to make a change, you gotta just make it. It's okay. It's not like you have to stay with whatever you've created. If you've created something and it's not quite what you want, that's okay. Just you know, make something else. Let's see. Um, so let's see. Yeah, we got Miguel coming from this side. Okay. And there's another thing too. I sort of have in my head now is that I know that the narrator is going to be saying something when this is happening. So what I'm sort of taking into account about right now is maybe how much time I'd want to spend on something being said. So now what I'm kind of like, normally I would record the dialogue track first, but I think what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to make the dialogue fit the animation, because that way then I can take what I think is enough time to make the animation work. Now, one of the things that I kind of want to do here is I don't want the scene to be too long. Because if somebody is just saying a line, it's only going to take a few seconds to say that line. So I sort of want to get a scene that is descriptive enough in a few seconds, right? Now I'm not going to time it ahead of time. I mean, normally I probably would, but I'm not going to, because number one, the way I'm doing the scene right now, I still got to work out all the poses. You see, I got to figure out how all these folks are going to come running and smash together and hug each other, and then even after they hug each other, what are they going to do? Are they going to swing side to side in a hug, or I see it in my head what I'd like to do, but I don't have it all figured out yet. So. And like I said, I'm purposely happy that I don't have it all figured out yet, because then you can see me figuring it out while I'm doing it. And that's the reason that I'm doing it this way, because I want you to see that, and I want you to know that you can work that way if you'd like to, and I like you to see what happens when you do it that way, what you get. I mean, sometimes, I'll be honest with you, sometimes I don't get what I want. But usually what I've discovered is that um, what usually happens in a situation like this is I get something that I didn't expect, and usually it's better than maybe something that I might have planned. You know, there's a quality to not having all the answers. Right when you start out, um, there's an advantage to not knowing. Let's see. So, all right, yeah. Let's see. How are we doing time-wise? Well, we're getting kind of up there. So, yeah. So, anyways, I'm going to stop here because there's a lot to do. So, anyways, you can see that there's a lot going on. Let me pull out on this here. Let's see. We'll make it that big, just so you can kind of see a general thing. It's not really flippable yet, but you can see that I've got something going here. So, to get them into that position, I'm not really sure exactly everything that has to happen, But now at least I've got I've got something to start with. And I know there's kind of a start drawing. Whether that's actually going to be the very first drawing, I don't know. It might be. I'm suspecting that maybe it might be. It's hard to say. I'm not going to say right now that it is going to be that first drawing because I don't know. All right, good people. There you go. This is where we are. So, hey, we're moving forward in this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Glad you guys are coming along with me. I'll see you tomorrow, and don't forget, Jesus is Lord.